science to do what you're kind of posturing, right? And it's Fey Docker, causal set theory. So I'm curious, what do you think that looks like as a tautology, looking at this thing called the universe?
Well, I'm just wondering how you cash out science to say that psychology is.
I'm highlighting how it's hopefully inequipped to explain.
Let him finish. Once you ask the question, let him finish it, then critique.
I don't know who you're talking to, bro. What's going on?
I was talking to you.
Okay, here.
Yeah, so how do you catch up?
You were about him over talking you, and then you literally did it as soon as he started talking.
Chill out.
I'm trying to make progress. So, do you want me to just be silent in between? Be a robot? I can do that.
I want you guys to talk once at a time.
Do you know what a constructive interruption is? People do it all the time in the real world. So if he's off track, I'm going to try to get him on track for the sake of time and efficiency.
Well, I am on track.
Right? Every single time. Every one you do it. And this is today.
I don't know you. I don't care about your opinion. I'm talking to the room operator.
Yeah, and I'm telling you, I want you to let him finish and then critique his response. And no, I don't want you to constructively interrupt.
Thank you for letting me know. Go ahead.
Yeah, so you asserted psychology is not going to be of the method of science. So I'm just wondering, how do you cash out science to assert this discrepancy between the method of science and the method of psychology? I take it that psychology is going to be a subset of scientific methodology. So what do you cash out to be science for which you can actually demonstrate the symmetry breaker between the sciences and the sense of psychology?
Okay, there's symmetry breakages everywhere, even within physics.
Well, what do you take science to be? How do you catch out science?
Stop interrupting him now. Let Newt respond to your question.
Okay, in physics, there's symmetry breakages everywhere. You just don't learn that until advanced physics. It's called a gauge duality. So what the physicists and little sneaky mathematicians do is they sneak these in everywhere. There's breakages for their formulae that people tend to think are sacrosanct. They really aren't. Einstein's general relativity, special relativity break down at an event horizon. An event horizon is a gauge duality.
That's not what I'm talking about.
It's what allows you to do reconciliation. So all throughout academia, right, with all these different branches, and trust me, there's thousands more we have yet to discover that are going to be in the future you just don't know about. That big fan out thing, right? The connector isn't science.
Yeah, so
I don't know if you imagine science just covers all academic disciplines and human states of affairs, but when I love another human being and I have that qualia-based experience, as Chalmers' hard problem of consciousness, there's no science for that, bro. So there's something science can explain. You just acted like, and actually not the posture that science can explain everything, and here you are contradicting that by acting like it can.
Nor did you answer the question I asked.
Everything.
Nor did you answer
I just
the question.
Answered. Science can't explain everything, and you just said it yourself.
Well, first of all, can you reproduce the question that which I conveyed, for which you can say it's an adequate response? Because what I asked was first.
I wasn't curious.
Yeah. Hold on. At first, I asked you, how do you cash out science to assert the discrepancy between psychology and science? And you never defined science for which you can actually evaluate a discrepancy. So you already failed in that. And when I mean symmetry breaker, all I mean is that they're asymmetric, right? The idea that science is not in symmetry with psychology. You didn't show the asymmetry between science and psychology. You never even defined science, nor psychology. You didn't cash them out, to which you can show they're distinct. You just went out on a little rant that was like...
Are you done? We don't need this extra stuff at the end.
I'm not the one doing the extra stuff. You're not being pertinent.
I'm waiting till you're done. I don't want to hear the shit talk at the end, though.
Well, can you just, answer the question this time?
Okay, so what I did is I took you back in our exchange to the parent conflict that we had, because...
That's not an answer to the question.
I'm speaking, don't interrupt.
Okay,
please. Yeah? So what ended up happening is there was a conflict that happened because I felt as though you were posturing heavily that science could explain everything, which is why you were trying to act as if it's a connector to every academic branch at a university, even though it's not. Can I please finish? And then I gave you opportunities to clarify. You postured again, then you stated, and I was kind of just over that. Now, the minor point you whittled it down to was show how human psychology isn't strictly an empirical branch of academic study. That it isn't. Right, that's just a fact. So now I know you don't know such a basic thing. You've now outed that part. That's what you did, right? By trying to whittle down and try to find a win point. And all the rest of the stuff is not the point of our exchange. I'm interested in the matter, which is why I research it. And I have a perspective based on the physics, even the science. And what the scientists say are anything but what you just said. So that's what we've discovered here. Is there anything left on the table?
I mean, yeah, everything I asked, but you haven't answered. I mean,
I'm not just here to be interrogated by the lights of you. So if you have a point, let's get to it. If you don't, I'm not here to just answer random questions.
Okay, well, you understand
something I don't know.
Okay, if somebody's going to ask you a question to further the conversation, you should answer it, or say that you don't want to continue the conversation.
Well, the idea is that
if you have a point you want to make, just get to it. I don't like being led by the nose.
So it seems like
you understand that there's an audience.
I do.
Okay, well, you understand what you're doing is called being an ignoramus, right? We can't partake in a dialectic now.
Please don't start with the ad homs.
All right, well, that's not really an ad hom. That's not an ad hom. No, that's not an ad hom. That's just an insult. But the idea is that there's no way I can be or I can consider engaging in dialect without the consideration of how you cash out terms. So the idea is I don't understand what you convey when you actually produce an utterance, so I'm asking for the semantic content, right? The idea is that not everyone defines science in the same way, nor psychology, for which you can cash out their distinct. First, I need to know how you cash out those terms, and then demonstrate the discrepancy between the two, and see from then, by its own terms of how you cash out these terms, by your lights, if they actually do evaluate the discrepancy. And if it is the case, using that internal critique I fail, then I can grant you that it is the case under your view that psychology and science are different. And you keep saying I postured science can answer anything, which I never did. All I ever did when I invoked science was say that the coming of the universe or manifestation for which you posit a God must facilitate the universe, that's going to be a scientific claim, the idea that a universe came about, right? Because that deals with a phenomenon. But I never said science can answer it. It's just going to be a scientific claim. I never talked about science's feasibility in actually producing a valid hypothesis or even just fact about the matter.
So NB dot, just a quick interjection. Like he claimed that science is limited. We all accept that science is limited. So is religion. Like religion cannot answer questions about mathematics. Religion cannot answer questions about quantum physics, energy, infrastructure in network, how all these things work. So yes, science is limited. So is religion.
I'm just curious. What gives you the impression?
Describe reality.
What gives you the impression I postured science can answer
We don't even
everything?
know half of them.
Yeah. So what gives you this impression that I posit or posture that science can answer everything?
Yeah,
when somebody expresses that you do that, if you care, you should try to like clean it up. But if you just keep posturing some more for whatever reason,
well, that's what I just put that into question, right? I just asked, what gives you this intuition?
This is a social question.
Yeah. So what makes you hold the view I posture science can answer everything?
Okay, I'm a very direct, get to the point kind of person.
So just get to the point.
I'm explaining why I had the impression I did. Do you care or not?
Well, it seems like you're being verbose and just like going into
so you can speak for me. So you're the problem, not me, because you just keep speaking for other people.
Well, I just want to answer.
You're the one who got it all figured out. That's how it works.
Yeah, just appeal to the constitutive of my brevity. Something I asserted.
Hold on a second.
You don't care. I don't care.
No, stop. No, he directly asked you for what he said that made you believe.
That guy was not the brightest.
I guess he does not answer questions.
He didn't track either.
I did remember him also telling that you pretend that science answers all questions. I literally heard him telling that, and then that is not what you claimed also.
Yeah, I never claimed that.
One of his points was literally, you are espousing that science can answer all questions, and then all you responded with was, yes, science can explain love. And he said, see, then you're postulating that science can explain all things. No, saying that science can't explain a thing that science can't explain is not saying it can explain everything.
Exactly.
Love.
I think
Oxytocin. You know that was a W for you. That's all that was. There's no reason to go into it anymore.
I do think that there is a recent tactic used by some apologists. Just because we have a measurement problem in quantum mechanics, they claim that all of science is invalid somehow or does not work.
He posited I'm married to science.
Well, he's one of the most obnoxious users on Discord, so move on.
I mean, what was the equation? Positing something or something like that? Like that science can't explain everything or in the universe?
Yeah, basically he was doing that.
What do you guys think is a counter argument to this? Because I've heard this on another place. Just because we have like a measurement problem in quantum mechanics, then they claim that all of science is invalid or it does not work. So what would be your counter argument to that? I'm just curious.
How does that even follow?
I don't know.
Would you even need a counter argument?
Yeah, that's just going to be a non sequitur. What's the point of like?
Yeah, like I mean, most materialists would accept that. I mean, like I'm not sure how that would be, like how that would make science invalid and explain things in the universe.
But yes, if they make that argument, then you have to respond, right? Like if you were to respond, what would you respond with?
That's not.
That doesn't seem like an argument.
Spooky physics are a thing. So what?
That seems more like a claim than an argument.
I think you can make that type of argument at any time in the history of like scientific inquiry. You can just say you can't explain X, so therefore all of science is bunk. I don't understand why this problem is any different than others.
I mean, theism has more things that need explaining than the science.
Well, even absent, I'm not talking about theism as a contrast to science, which I've never understood. But I'm talking about, like, yeah, let's say I'm talking about the argument or the objection that Warzone was talking about, where someone says, hey, there's a measurement problem in quantum physics, therefore all of science collapses. I don't see how that's different from having a lack of knowledge at any other point in the history of science where we didn't understand something. Like, what makes the measurement problem like a milestone that if we don't understand this, then we don't understand any science? I don't understand how that follows. Like when we didn't understand electromagnetism, where people are also saying like, "Hey, you don't understand electromagnetism and gravity, so you know, all science is bunk." Like, what? So that's how I would respond to that.
Yeah, the fact that science can't answer one thing does not mean that it can't answer any.
What bugs me about Newt is that I get the strong suspicion that I agree with like a lot of his views, but I can't ever hear them fleshed out because I was saying this earlier, there's just like so much sensitivity and defensiveness and these weird principles of leaving a conversation. I don't know. The whole thing's so bizarre. I wish I could find out what he thinks.
Well, that is a very, very special person.
The only way to do that is to not have these conversations in an audience. You won't get that response. Otherwise, you're just going to get extra gaslighting and straw manning. Like
if you were talking about Newt, free speech, he's like hyper arrogant, huge chip on his shoulder, super condescending.
Yeah,
like thinks he can conduct a conversation or a debate, but you know.
I have yet to see like a good interaction. Someone have like an interaction where it's like respectful disagreement. Where reviews, like I haven't seen that yet.
Nope.
Okay, so
I don't think that's why he's here.
So do you guys want to try this one thing like for the claim that I made about quantum mechanics, and there is a guy that I was trying to debate, and it seemed a little problematic. So he is actually there on the politics server. Does any of you want to challenge him? Like I just want to see
What's
how you
his
guys
name?
like this. His name is Bang. B-A-N-G.
No, he knows nothing. He's a little child that knows almost nothing about anything. He's just like reactionary anti-science takes because his religion says so. Like there's nothing.
No, exactly. I know that. I just want to see like how you guys
Had multiple conversations with him. It doesn't matter how much you break something down, how much knowledge you bring to the table. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, because anytime I bring like empirical arguments, he always uses the recent Nobel Prize that scientists want in showing that the local universe is not real. So I did not really research much about that, so I didn't know the counter argument. So he said that since we have this problem on non-local realism, he said that classical mechanics or the classical objects, like quantum mechanics, depends on the classical object. So I didn't really know what the answer to that.
Like
he's there right now. So,
like he's a person where if you would ask him, hey, do you think these physicists draw the same conclusion as you? Like, have you heard them speak on the matter? Why do you think they don't? And he just, he doesn't want to engage. Like it's when you ask like someone like Nephilim, like, hey, why do like the overwhelming consensus of geologists disagree with your conclusions?
I get it.
Because there's just nothing there.